Hello 大家，歡迎收睇 HSBC Live Live Well Series 第6集。咁今日咧，我哋會講翻個頸同埋膊頭，同埋咧我會分享下自己點樣可以迎接每一日個挑戰。Okay, so today we're going to start off on our all fours, so in the quadruped base. I'm going to actually talk more about what CARS are today. So this is the foundation of the mobility training that I work with. It's based off of a system called functional range systems, and it's discovered by a chiropractor. But basically what I really like about this system is that they link up the importance of joint health throughout the rest of your body, and they actually link it in with everyday movement as well. So to cut things short, I'm just going to show you as I talk. The first thing we want to do is keep our stomach nice and tight and ground through the floor. So you have the option to tuck your toes under or leave them pointed. But once we start this movement now, we're not allowed to move throughout the body. Okay, so we want to make sure we're nice and tight. The only thing I'm going to look to move here is going to be my head, because I want to draw a nice controlled range of motion with my neck right now. So my head is incredibly heavy, as is yours. The skull, the brain, everything sits inside of it. Before you realize, a lot of the time with texting, with computers, this is probably the natural position for most of us when we come into this position. So just by simply lifting your head up to look at the top of your mat or towel, this here is bringing your head into a neutral position. And if you remember that your head is an extension of your spine, you will start to realize the importance of actually strengthening your neck muscles as well. So from here, we're going to draw our chin to our chest and keep it in close. Now don't be afraid of making a double chin. The more chins, the better here. Then from here, I'm going to draw my chin over to my left shoulder, but I'm keeping it tucked in. And then from here, I'm going to drop my ear towards my shoulder. I come all the way around, back of the neck, ear to shoulder, chin to shoulder, chin to chest. This is halfway around. We're going to go the other way around now, keeping the chin into the chest. Bring the chin back over to the right shoulder, ear to shoulder, back of the neck, ear to shoulder, chin to shoulder, and then back into the chest. Reset, go back in, rep number 2. The biggest thing when you do this one is you keep your chin into your chest. At any point as you move along, chin to shoulder, ear to shoulder. You should not feel any kind of sharp pain. Ear to shoulder again, chin to shoulder, chin to chest. Reverse, back the other way. If you feel sharp pain throughout the movement, that is often called closing angle pain. And when I say that, it's really in the direction in which you're pushing into. So as we reset for our third rep, if I bring my chin down to my chest and I feel pain inside this area here underneath my chin, that is the angle in which I'm closing into, and that is probably something that's telling you that you should go get it checked out by a health professional. If you find that when you bring your chin in and you feel something happening through the back here, that is okay, because that's where you're actually stretching the muscles out. Okay, so the closing angle pain is actually where you close into the joint. Now we're going to finish off our last one. Press away from the floor, engage the stomach. Once again, draw the chin to the chest, chin to shoulder, ear to shoulder, all the way around, ear to shoulder, chin to shoulder, and back in all the way. From there, reset, other way around, making that circle as smooth as possible as you go around, not shrugging, not compensating into any other part of your body, and relax. We stay in this space, we go straight into our next part. So I mentioned in the first episode, or actually the second episode of the series when we were talking about the neck and the shoulders, that it's really important to recognize the connection between all of this. So you have your shoulder girdle, which is actually made up of your shoulder blades and your shoulder joint, which is this glenohumeral socket right here, that ball and socket, but also our neck sits on top of it, and a lot of the muscles are shared across the two joints. So we're gonna learn to actually isolate the shoulder blade movement here. Shoulder blade is different to shoulder joint, okay? So what we want to look to do here, I'm just going to simplify it first. You keep your body straight and tight like we did just now in the neck CARS. CARS stands for controlled articular rotations, and so joints itself has very limited blood supply, which is why we have to create movement in order to diffuse the nutrients into the joint, okay? So in this position here, all I'm looking to do is squeeze my shoulder blades together. This is called retraction. And then protraction, push away. So if you watch the shoulder joint here, I'm going to retract. I am not dipping down. I'm not losing the integrity of my lower part of my spine here. I'm purely moving just the shoulder joint here. So that arm bone, that humerus upper arm, sits inside the socket, and you almost feel like a push at the edge of it. Then from here, one more like this, and out. So that's protraction and retraction. We're now going to go into elevation and depression. So it's basically just shrugging and pushing away. So shrug up, push away. And when you do these ones, make sure you keep your arms straight, because even though it seems like a very simple movement, I invite you to try it with me if you haven't already done so. A lot of the time you'll probably find people start moving their elbows around while they do this, and you start to realize that you're moving across your body. So we're going to link all 4 of those movements up together now. We're going to start by protracting, pushing away from the floor. Shrug up, retract, depress and push down. You draw that circle with the shoulder blade. We're going to go 5 one way. This is the second rep. Again, you keep your head in a neutral spine the entire time. And for rep number 3, you might feel some crunching. You might feel some unusual sensations, but once again, as long as you don't have any sharp closing angle pains, you are okay to continue. The biggest thing with all of this and across the series, what I've been talking about, is you're gaining awareness about your body. We're going to reverse the circle. You're going to push down, go all the way around, reversing. So all of this is just really about gaining awareness about your body so that you can better maintain your body as your days go by. I think sometimes we think that we need that 1 hour of exercise and that's all we need throughout the day, but realistically, if you think about it, we've got 23 hours left. What are you going to do? You're going to stay seated? Probably not. The damage that we do to our body, 1 hour isn't going to reverse it. So right there, that is your scapular cars. That's really just looking at the shoulder blade movement, okay? So in this one now, we're going to move into our shoulder joint. If you look at your shoulder right now, you can see right here the arm bone, your whole arm actually sits inside this socket. And this is that ball and socket that we always talk about, okay? So your hips and your shoulders are a ball and socket joint, which means that it's actually capable of moving a lot. When I take you through your shoulder cars right now, we're just going to do 2 on each side. We're going to make sure that your body does not move, okay? So pay attention to the rib cage and the chest here. I don't want to move in and out as I do this one. I need to stay still and my belly is tight throughout the entire thing. So I'm going to start by straightening out my right arm. My elbow stays locked the entire time. I'm going to bring it up into flexion. So I'm going to come up in front of my body, and I keep pulling my shoulder blade down away from my neck. So I go until I can no longer go, and you can see here I'm starting to get limited through my flexion. I'm going to stop where I can no longer go rather than do that, because that there is no longer my shoulder joint. I flared my rib cage out. So I come back out. This is where I stop. So this is my end range. Now I'm going to start to rotate inside my shoulder joint now. So my shoulder joint, like I said, it's a ball and socket. So I want to think of this arm bone rotating inwards. This is internal rotation. You're be careful not to raise into anything else, and you're going to start to continually rotate all the way around. Now I've got a very brave face right now, but this hurts. So no closing angle pain though, but it's just uncomfortable because it's got a lot of history in my shoulder, I'd say. So from here, we're going to go backwards into extension, and notice how my palm is still facing you. Then I externally rotate without moving anything else. My thumb goes up. I start to raise up, pull my shoulder blade down as I come up. Ooh, there's a lot of crunching, coming all the way around and back down. Deep breath. Second rep now, same thing. You try and make that circle just a little bit bigger. So once again, coming up, keeping the stomach tight, head is neutral. When I can no longer go, I stop, I rotate out, and I really try and think of my muscles around my rotator cuff doing the work. As I come around, I continue to rotate, 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 and down. From there, if you squeeze hard enough, your tricep is going to cramp like mine is right now. And I'm going to rotate out now, coming up and around and all the way down. Okay. Onto the other side, I'm just going to show you a front profile now so that you can actually see what it looks like from the front. So in this position, once again, I'm going to stay put. Left arm is going to stay locked out now. You can see my right arm is trying to pull down, so I'm actually not doing this. If you want to sit on it, you can sit on it as well. I'm just going to put it underneath my ankle to lock it in place. Now my shoulder blade pulls down. I'm going to pull that arm up. Notice how I'm bringing it in front of my body. I'm going to go up, 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 stop where I can no longer go. No movement like that. Pull it back down, and then you rotate. So when you rotate, you might see a clunk here. Ooh, there we go. Clunking is still okay because I don't feel any sharp pains. Sometimes the joints are often just quite sticky. So again, as mentioned earlier, there's very poor blood supply going into the joints. Going back. So you can see my extension's way better on this side, and I rotate and I control the rotation. And then as I come back up, I pull the shoulder blade down, go all the way up and over. Okay, so that one right there is your shoulder cars. Now on to the last one, which is actually going to be more of a static stretch, and I'm just going to talk more about the theme as we come into this one. Now for this one, your hands are going to be back on the mat, but you're going to walk back so far now that your toes are actually at the edge of the mat. And then I'm going to slowly walk my hands forward. This one is just called your puppy stretch. I want to leave my bum up in the air and drop my heart down towards the floor. So here you can untuck your toes or tuck your toes. Main thing is you're not coming into a child's pose. You actually want to keep your hips way over your hips to open up your thoracic cage. If your shoulders are limited, you can feel free to bring your hands a little bit more open to give your shoulders more space. But if you feel okay and you want to make it harder, you can always come in and then start to bring your chin down towards the floor. So as you hold your stretch here, you're going to focus back in on the breath. And as I mentioned earlier, the theme of today's session is recommitting every day. And I just want to share a little example of mine as to how I tried to apply that into my everyday life. I had a terrible day yesterday, but I also know that nothing is permanent and that day was going to pass, but that doesn't mean I wait for the end of the day to come. It doesn't mean I wait and just let myself wallow in it all day. I like to tell myself that, okay, it might be one terrible day, one really, really long day, one really, really slow day, but I would never wish for the day to end because I know that I can't take anything for granted. And so when that next day does come around, it's nice to start fresh. I start back up the day with my morning routine. I start back up my day with being grateful. And for me, expressing gratitude is a huge part of what I do, but most importantly because I know this is a fact, right? And I say this is a fact because I've tried it many a time, and I've invited others to try it many a time as well, that you cannot be grateful and angry at the same time. So when you think of that, it just helps you bring yourself back into a more positive mindset once again. So when I start my day off with gratitude, with movement, with a little bit of meditation, then I know, okay, it's a blank slate and I'm starting over. Whatever happened yesterday is in the past. Whatever happens tomorrow, I don't know if it's going to be there yet. So when we can be present and bring yourself back into whichever space you're in right now, then you can really start to recognize what's happening around you in order to make the most out of it. So from here, as you slowly relax your shoulders closer towards the ground, maybe sink a little deeper into the stretch. Take one more deep breath in. And one more deep breath out. Slowly take your time. Come back out of that. Just roll your shoulders one more time, just like those scap cards we did at the start. Maybe move your neck around as well. Revisit that neck range. Always remember to go in the opposite direction as well. 咁多謝大家收睇今日嘅節目，希望大家喺屋企都可以做多啲運動啦。